All right, Mr. Larry Dixon. We are interviewing you for the More Than Conquerors program. I know that you are one of the students and one of the best students from what I understand. Tell me a little bit about the program.
The program is a program that's an interaction between peers that permits a bilateral transaction to take place and allow uh, the student to express themselves, and they openly deal with solutions to our day-to-day problems and things that we could potentially be faced with in the process of reintegrating back into the fabric of society.
Okay.
Um, um, we we deal with coping skills. We deal with effective communications. Um, we have skits that we do that allows us to see exactly how a situation would unfold if we were to potentially act one way and opposed to acting another way, and the outcome that comes about as a result of it. Um, but the beauty of it is that it's done from a faith-based perspective. It permits us to uh, apply godly principles to our day-to-day endeavors, and it, it teaches us to be mindful of the way that we approach a situation. It teaches us to be mindful of consequence. It it makes us a great deal more aware and allows us to um, understand that uh, we can control the outcome of a situation if we apply practical coping skills that we employ um, in our class situations. A change is something that has to be brought about as a result of making a commitment. And then, after making the commitment, having the conviction to stay grounded and see it through.
How is More Than Conquerors different from other programs you've been a part of over the years?
I've been a part of numerous programs. Um, I've been a part of the Changes class. I've been a part of the cognitive intervention behavior class. I've been a part of Voyagers. I've been a part of Overcomers class. I've been a part of numerous classes, but none deals directly with the immediate needs of the ex-offender like More Than Conquerors. And I think that's a direct result of it being a peer-to-peer program being administered by an ex-offender who has a direct knowledge and understanding of the psychological burden that's we're confronted with in the process of preparing for our release and what we'll encounter after being released. So with an understanding, a firm understanding of that, and having underwent personally programming that gave him a foundation to understand how to address the needs of ex-offenders through a faith-based program, Therapon. Uh, when this program was discontinued, there was an immediate need for something that had a little bit more personal appeal to the ex-offender or to the student or to the people who are participating in the program. It addresses so just so that I can make this plain. It's faith-based. I mean, addressing a problem from a faith-based perspective is great, but what we have to understand is that there are things that happen in the natural and in the practical world where knowing the scripture won't uh, resolve the issue, and it won't give you the tools that you need to sustain yourself in the face of adversity. But learning to apply coping skills and having effective communication, and let me talk a little bit about that. I think that effective communications is a situation that plagues most ex-offenders and is one of the primary reasons for recidivation. People in the prison learn prison slangs. They have a dislike for people who frown on the way of life that they've adapted, and they don't feel comfortable in it, and subconsciously they have a desire to be back in that situation where this is permissible, where they're comfortable, and being in the free world is placing them outside of their comfort zone. But learning to learning effective communication prepares the ex-offender for when he's reassimilated back into the fabric of society, the means to civilly approach conflict, because things are not going to always go your way, especially as an ex-offender. You have a lot of things that's going to serve as obstacles and as pitfalls, and if you aren't equipped enough to endure those situations and resolve them logically and intelligently, then you're going to find yourself recidivating.
What would you tell someone who was thinking about partnering with Prisoners of Hope Ministries to support or be involved with the More Than Conquerors program? I
would say to them that with the rate of recidivism being what it is, there's a definite need for programs that address the real needs of ex-offenders. Now, the programs that are presently instated and accepted only address the needs cosmetically. The approach that's being taken here is one that meets you where you stand. And where we stand as ex-offenders is in a position where we feel alienated. People tend to be prejudicial about us because of our backgrounds. We find ourselves having to prove ourselves, and as a result of that, we develop complexes. And these programs do not address the psychological needs, the spiritual needs, and the personal needs.
But More Than Conquerors does.
But More Than Conqueror does. It's tailor-made for that type of situation. And the way that it was put together is one of the most unique things about More Than Conquerors, because it was something that came about as a result of brainstorming, collaborative efforts in addressing the various needs that other programs did. It was based on what other programs were not doing. That is one of the primary reasons why it is more effective than these other programs, because it addresses everything that these other programs have not addressed. And obviously these other programs are not working because the recidivism rate does not show that they are working.
So to put money into the More Than Conquerors program would be a good
Would be a
investment.
wise investment. I think to put money in More Than Conquerors would be a concrete investment because it would show results. And the people who graduate from More Than Conquerors will be positioned to be facilitators and expand the program in a way that will impact programming as we presently see it in TDC.
Good answer. In closing, tell us a little bit about the facilitator. We've heard a lot of things about him. What's he like?
The facilitator is down to earth, cordial, no nonsense with respect to being jived in using terms that are used in this environment, but you just can't bring foolishness to him. He's one that's been there and done that and recognizes sincerity, and when and having the ability to deal with every person in the class on a personal, individual level as a unique individual and nurturing that person from the position of their growth.
Wow. We're going to have to meet this guy.
Yeah, I think so too.
What would you tell someone wanting to join More Than Conquerors, either as a student or a facilitator?
I think as a facilitator, you would be promoting a program that's very impactful, a program that is going to foster growth, a program that will prepare the person involved with going back into society a great deal more equipped than when he arrived.
Awesome. Anything you want to say in closing? What would you, as your final statement, what would that be?
My final statement would be I think that every institution under the banner of TDC should have access to this program. In closing, I feel that by doing so, you will be doing a great justice to the chaplaincy throughout TDC, the educational components of TDC, the reentry components of TDC, and make everyone's job a lot less difficult.
An inmate that has graduated from More Than Conquerors has coping skills that could inevitably make the prison environment safer.
A great deal more congenial to live in. It would be less violent. It would. It has the ability to restructure the thinking of an inmate or an offender. Because it allows him to see things from an entirely different perspective. It allows offenders to see themselves introspectively. It allows them to be able to play the tape back and see where mistakes were made in their lives and give them the opportunity to correct them, as well as give them the tools by which to make that a reality in their lives.
Can't think of a better closing. Thank you for your time, Larry Dixon.
You're very welcome, sir.